Have you ever spent hours writing an email in English, read it 10 times, hit send, and never got a reply? Yeah, today we're fixing that. For good. I'm Ms. Mary, and today I've invited a specialist who has read and corrected hundreds of emails written by Brazilians before they reached international partners. Welcome to the studio. Tell us, what's the most classic mistake Brazilians make when writing emails in English? Number one mistake? Literal translation. People take what they would say in Portuguese and drop it straight into Google Translate, and the result sounds strange, cold, almost rude, rude without meaning to. And that's worse than grammar mistakes, because grammar, people ignore it. Rudeness, people feel it. And the most classic of all classics, I want to inform you that that's not polite in English. That's robotically formal. No native speaker talks like that. So what should we use instead? Because I'll admit, I've written, I want to inform you, many times in my life. Instead, say, I wanted to let you know. Softer, more human, more natural. It sounds like a real person wrote it. This seems small, but it changes everything. I wanted to let you know versus I want to inform you. Huge difference in perception, and there's more. Please find attached, corporate email classic. But it sounds like a robot from the 90s wrote it. What do we use instead? I've attached the file for your review. Simple, direct, polite, contemporary. That's the English real professionals use today. And tone changes depending on who you're writing to, right? So how do we calibrate that without a fixed rule about when to be formal or informal? The rule I teach is simple. Mirror the tone of the previous email. If they were informal, you can be informal back. If they were formal, keep that level. Brilliant, because it removes the anxiety of, am I being too casual? You just follow the cue they already gave you. Now, email openings. Dear Sir or Madam. We know that's outdated. But what's the middle ground between too formal and too casual? Hi name why works in 90% of professional contexts today. Using the person's first name already creates connection. That's the modern global standard. And what about closings? This is my weak spot. Best regards? Kind regards? Cheers? I never know which one to choose. Best alone is the most common in American professional contexts today. Kind regards is more British and slightly more formal. And cheers is casual. Great for follow-up emails with people you already know. British versus American English matters more than people think, because the same email can feel completely different depending on who's reading it. There's a classic example I always use with my students. I could care less. Americans say that. Logically, the correct phrase would be I couldn't care less. And the British know that. Now let me ask you something that will change the way you write emails forever. Do you know the difference between follow-up and check-in? Follow-up is when you're tracking a pending action, a proposal, a deadline. Check-in is when you're seeing how someone is doing or how a project is progressing. Completely different uses. Most Brazilians use follow-up for everything, and it sounds mechanical, like you're just chasing someone with zero humanity. And speaking of humanity, there's one sentence that transforms any reminder email into something that preserves the relationship. Here it is. Just wanted to make sure this didn't get lost in your inbox. That sentence is magic. It reminds without accusing. It nudges without pressuring. It's corporate English at its best. Honestly, that sentence should be in the curriculum of every Brazilian working with international partners. It's the perfect balance between professional and human. But here's something few people talk about. The subject line is the gateway. If it's bad, nothing inside the email matters. Quick question is a powerful professional subject line. Direct, human, non-threatening. The reader already knows it's short before opening it. And that increases reply rates. Reply rates, that's what matters at the end of the day. It's not about sounding smart. It's about getting a response. And the right English does exactly that. Let me ask you something else. Did you know that Apple has an internal written communication guide for employees? One of the rules? Never use unnecessary jargon. Apple believes clarity is the most sophisticated form of intelligence, and that applies to email too. The simpler and more direct, the more powerful. And one company took this even further. Amazon banned PowerPoint presentations in internal meetings. Everything became written memos in clear, objective English. Jeff Bezos believed that if you can't write clearly, you can't think clearly. And that's when everyone realized writing well in English isn't a detail, it's business strategy. Because now writing an email in English isn't just about language, it's about how you're perceived as a professional worldwide. Before we wrap up, tell me, is there any email phrase you've always used but secretly felt was weird? As per my previous email, everyone uses it thinking it's professional. To a native English speaker, it sounds passive-aggressive. It's basically saying, as I already told you, and you clearly ignored. Oh my God, I've used that sentence many times, thinking I was being ultra-professional. Instead, say, to recap our last conversation, or following up on what we discussed. Same content, completely different tone. This episode was a full masterclass. But before we go, what's the one thing you'd say to someone who's afraid to write their first email in English? Write it, send it, make mistakes, learn. No one will judge you for trying, but everyone will notice if you stop trying. Perfect English doesn't exist. Functional English does, and it's available to anyone. This was the Ms. English Podcast. If this episode made you want to rewrite every email you've sent in the last 5 years, mission accomplished. Subscribe to the channel, share this with that friend who's still using Dear Sir or Madam in 2025, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.